We are building a model railway from scratch with the Märklin starter packs, and a lot has happened since the last episodes. We have now arrived at a base plate, have meticulously laid out a layout, a track plan, which I personally find great for my ideas as a play layout, at least for now, and with that, I just want to continue building. And in the last episode, I showed a bit as inspiration what you can tinker with, what you can get from the various model building accessory manufacturers. And now my challenge in this episode is a bit that I want to prepare everything here again with various things before I then screw everything together. We have digitized our turnouts. I can show that real quick. I have here the first turnout, or let's start with the first turnout digitized. This is the one here at the front on the side. Can you see here? So there my steam locomotive can now either drive into the inner circle or into the outer one. I have digitized my second turnout here on the side, enabling it to then smoothly reverse onto the siding, for instance. Let's make this really quick. We'll just drive them in here once. And look how she comes back then. So she drives in here and then she can reverse back and drives back onto the siding here. Then I digitized my third turnout here, this particular one, and swapped the addresses around a bit, just to make it significantly easier. So we turn out to number 1, then to turnout 2, followed by turnout 3, and now I have turnout 4. Next we have turnout 5, and finally turnout 6, still to be digitized. But I have now decided that I will change the system a bit. And so far I had used these turnout decoder inserts, which you can see here. They're great for carpet tracks. So if you have to carry the tracks away again, then it has the great advantage that you can simply clip it under the rail. I'll just show this briefly here again at the turnout because it's totally practical. So if you build a play structure on the carpet or parquet for tracks, it looks like this. Then you have a combination of both here. Once there was an electric turnout drive here under the turnout, and once there was a digital decoder. You can simply clip it under the turnouts here, and then they hold there, and you can also easily dismantle the track and put it away. Advantage, easy to clear away. Disadvantage, you need a lot of these digital decoders. Therefore, there is still an alternative for those who prefer to build their track on such a modular layout or on such a substructure layout as I have done here. Because then you can also use soft multiple decoders again, and I've brought one here. This is this one right here. Actually, this is an m83 decoder, which I can also show you in even more detail here. So now you can recognize that. And with that, I can digitally turn out 1, 2, 3, 4 turnouts at the same time. That's what it looks like when you unpack it. And indeed, it is connected relatively easily. We just have to take 2 cables and connect them with the track now. And then we can proceed to screw these cables, which often hang out of the turnout drives, into these 3 sockets here in the multi-decoder. Ensuring they're properly secured is key. Once this step is completed, the work is essentially done. And all the way at the back, there's a DIP turnout, where you can then also simply reconfigure the address again, with which address this decoder should actually be accessible. Then that would be, for example, turnout 1, 2, 3, 4, or since my turnouts 1, 2, 3 are already occupied, I could also say that it would then be 4, 5, 6. That would then be a possibility, for example. And that's exactly what we're going to do together now, so you can see how it works, then you'll know too. Moreover, we need a little bit of something else for that. We need cables, and I take red cables here at this point, so that I know what my red traction current is, so that I can do it in the same colors as my other tracks and power points, so that it doesn't eventually look like a short circuit, because I just took some green or a blue cable and thought it would fit. Additionally, I take a brown cable, same principle, because at the connection track, where the current is supposed to flow, it is always red-brown. I'll use these 2 cable colors, red and brown, here on the side, so that later, when pulling cables under the wood, I don't mix them up. And I could also make use of a yellow cable now, to then later utilize the colors yellow and brown for lighting purposes, for instance. We'll cover lighting in a special episode. I've brought it up before, and as you can see, there's also the blue color, which could also be used for the turnout drive cables, but they are actually long enough now, so I think we'll manage with them for the time being. Let's look at what's happening now. I need to pull some cables, be a bit of a wireman for you. We need more for that. We still need something very small. And I've brought a pack with me. These are called flat plug sleeves. That's what they are called. Serial number 74995 at Märklin. And with that, one can effortlessly connect a wire or a cable directly to a rail, ensuring a secure connection. These little things are so small, but you need a lot of them for crafting. I recommend you get 2 or 3 packs in advance, because you will need them very often when you build your track. Please stock up on those. So I'll just put this aside for a moment, and then we get started. This decoder, now to be connected to the track. I'm going to do it now, even if it doesn't make sense. Right at the front, because that's where I can get to best, and the camera can see it best. So I take out this rail here, this track. So I will now simply make myself a connecting track for the M83 decoder by putting these small flat plug sleeves right here on the side. They are now coming directly here, connected to that spot on these small tabs on B and 0. However, previously, in connection to a cable, therefore, I opt to commence with the color red. Hold a red cable in hand. So, then I'll actually conclude that up a bit for myself. This is still very nicely glued here indeed. Very good. All new. Could we possibly take a pair of scissors now, or perhaps a clip? So, and now we'll take, I don't actually need that much, merely 2 handbreadths will indeed suffice at this moment. I'll just proceed to do the same now. Then I take a crimping tool and gently, yet effectively, separate this particular section here on the side. Click! And also, could you make a wire come out here at the front for me so that I can now nicely and very clearly show it again on the camera? Now you can see it reasonably well here at the front. Please crimp it. So the loose wire now hangs out front, and I'll do the same on the other side. And then it progresses right here, seamlessly continuing the narrative. So, skimmed off here too. I can do the same with the second cable, but now I'm not taking a red one. Now, I take a brown one and proceed to do exactly the same, following the procedure closely. I would have almost said in green, no, actually in brown, and take here too. Initially, lay the masking tape down first. Tape, so I can then wind that up completely. So, it goes just as far here. Now I can measure this one, as they must be exactly the same length. So, then it appears much nicer on the facility. Now we're actively getting rid of this particular item here, in length. Ah, indeed, that's almost precisely the same length. And first and foremost, please move that to the side. And then on the other side, again, and hoppy-galopy, we are almost done. Now I twirl this together a bit more, and now I can start either on the track or on the decoder. That doesn't really matter. At this moment, I'm going to get myself a small screwdriver, to be more precise, a blitz. And unscrew these 2 screws on the decoder very briefly here. Now, I just have to see if you can see that. Yes, you can see that quite well here, so unscrew it and unscrew it on the other side as well. And now please focus your attention on the colors. Right is a deep brown and left a vivid red. So we go where the thumb is on the right. The other way around, we go in here with brown to brown, and with red we go in with the red cable and just screw it on nice and tight so that the decoder has good traction. And we'll do that on the other side again. So, I'm doing this a bit slower so you can fully see it. Just tighten it a bit so that we indeed have a bit more pull and certainly a bit more tension on the cable. So, proceed to carefully and securely tighten this component right here, ensuring it's firmly in place. So, now our decoder is actively getting power directly from the track and is also accurately receiving the digital signals emanating from the track. That means whatever our mobile station turnouts will also arrive there immediately from this decoder. Now we need the flat plug sleeves. I do that differently, using a small pair of pliers at this point. And with these pliers, I'll hold the flat plug sleeve firmly at the front, ensuring it's well secured. I'll hold it like this so it can be seen better. Exactly. And now I just take this cable and slowly insert it here. That I can then firmly press it down right here. Perhaps there are other methods. Kindly write them in the comments section. I have done it this way the last few times and it has worked. You can theoretically also solder that firmly with the soldering iron. Look, it didn't work already. This is the beautiful apron effect. You love that, don't you? Always notice in comments how happy you are when things go wrong for me. Imagine this. Showing it to the camera, I can't see because I'm looking at the screen. Trying again to see. Then, you're momentarily out of luck. Now, as it goes in, it securely holds. Even when observing myself doing it, the performance improves markedly, ensuring it now remains firmly in place here. We can now effortlessly connect it with the track right here. It's already approaching the side marked with 0, indicating the brown cable's position. Currently, nothing is connected yet. I'm going to turn off the power from the mobile station for a moment anyway, just to be safe, and can put this down here for now, and I'll do the same with the red cable as well. Twist this here just a bit tighter. Now could you please try it again, employing my method? Hold it with tongs. Insert it here carefully. Take another quick look yourself, so it doesn't break again the second time. So, simply pull it tightly once, press down on this firmly, and then it will securely hold. And now I'm taking the whole thing to the red side, or rather the B side, like in the old days with the vinyl record, the B side. So, indeed, it's in here now, and as you can clearly see, it's vividly red on the left side and distinctly brown on the right side. So now I can seamlessly connect the decoder right here, and by simply plugging the track back in at this precise location, we ensure a smooth operation. You can bend it a little bit, then it goes in quite well. Such a nasty spot with the dual carriageway here. Good, that fits. So, if I now engage the track, the decoder is immediately activated as well. The only story is, I haven't even bothered yet to find out what address this decoder can actually be reached at. That's why I have to go back to those little DIP turnouts at the back, on the side. And then, I can effortlessly establish an address right here. And then, as you observe, what's unfolding up here, what's all encompassed in there. They are all directly upright now. So, we need to ensure we set the right address. I'll show you the facility briefly from above, then we'll count through. Switch number 1, turnout number 2, and turnout number 3. They are already seamlessly connected. Now, I would really like to have the turnouts numbered 4, 5, and 6 to be connected, please. So, interestingly enough, this particular location must indeed be the correct address, which is number 5. Or rather, already be address 4, sorry. That means I want this decoder to start at address 4. Then it will be the 5, 6, and the 7. So I have to select address 5 here. Now the question is, can he even do that? And we just looked that up in the instruction manual, because it always likes to start in 4s and also likes to change in 4s. Let's examine this. In the worst case, an empty address, the 4th. Here are the steps. And that's exactly where the addresses are listed. And, as I suspected, it simply can't start with a 4 at all, because it always occupies 4 address blocks. That means I can say I'll take numbers 5 to 8 once again. So the first 4 slots are already taken up by my 3 turnouts. The 4th then remains empty. It continues with the 5. Accordingly, the second DIP turnout must be up. There is a 1 for on. So the second DIP turnout needs to be up. Correct or yes, exactly. And now I'm going back to this piano, this little one here, and adjust it briefly. I make all down except for the second. So then I take another look at the 10 to see what it is. Because the 10 is such a special feature, it actually decides between the Märklin Motorola protocol and DCC. There are indeed some railways that are controlled with the Motorola protocol and some with the DCC. And if I turn it off now, then indeed it's a Märklin Motorola, so he also has to go down. I briefly looked it up again, just to be sure, in the instruction manual. I earnestly hope I read it correctly. Now, it should hopefully be set correctly. So, the second one is upstairs. If you stand correctly, you'll notice when the light turns on. As before, I'll just set the decoder aside to view from above. Soon, it'll blink. If it has electricity and beep, 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 it starts blinking right away. That has worked well before, so it does have power. And now the question is, which address did I give to the decoder? The best way I can find that out is by just going for it right now. So here were my keys 1 and 2, soft 1. Switch 2, then we have here the turnout 3, the 4 remains free now, and now we go into the 5, 6, and that was the 4, and now here 5, and you see the decoder starts to blink slightly here. Can you see that? Here on the left, it's flashing, meaning it's now red, then flashes red briefly, now green, flashes green briefly, and I need to connect my turnout. I'll just press stop for a moment, lower the power again, and connect my turnout. So now just watch me from above for a short moment with the ceiling camera. So, then you see that. I go to the middle with the yellow cable, opening this in the middle now. And one side is now virtually designated for the curved turnout, and the other side is specifically for the straight turnout. Now that I've laid them out in front of me, I can no longer see exactly which of these blue cables is the one to turn right or turn left. That's why I'm trying it now. Only two outcomes. How it works, it's either right or wrong. So, I take this here and have a look at it. Now, focusing on the color, specifically green, let's start by placing green on the right side. We'll screw this up here, and then, keeping our attention on green, begin with it. It's about taking green, ensuring it's on the right, and adjusting it here as we start. And now, we can see if it already works or not. We will also connect the other side right away. One could also connect one now, but I'm doing both right now. In the best case, it works. And if not, we'll simply just do it all over again together, but in reverse. So, indeed, connected. Now I can turn the power back on at the facility, and I can tell my fifth, I'm transitioning from red to green, and it genuinely turned out something. So, we said green is straight, and I actually even connected it correctly right away. You briefly see it in the ceiling camera. Here it's straight, then we make it round. So, whether it's red or round, that essentially means the train would simply turn off right here. Therefore, the very first thing is digitized and can now be seamlessly turnouted. And now we can just feel our way forward here with the next turnout. I have already prepared them here. And then it continues with this turnout. Here too, two cables are already in the turnout decoder. We don't need a digital decoder here anymore either. And now we can go ahead and take the yellow cable and reconnect it in the middle. I'm shutting down the power on the system once again. It saves on nerves and conserves energy. Taking it easy on the nerves is significantly more important in this case because honestly, it doesn't take much at all. So, and then it simply goes out with the second cable. Now one could almost notice what is what. We'll just try it again. We're just testing this. Trying is better than studying, as the saying goes. And then we go back in here now. I'll show it to you again in peace in a moment. I just want it done quickly now. So, it's best if you actually observe it from above, then you can see more. Because now, there are going to be a considerable number of cables. Then, we'll proceed to clean up a bit once again until we're ready for the next episode. So, kindly put the wire in there and then carefully screw it tight, ensuring it's securely fastened. So, you see, it's essentially the same game as before. The cables are in here now, so on the left and right, we have the blue wire, or alternatively the blue cable, and in the middle, we find the yellow one. So now let's actually examine if it works or not. Please turn the power back on. Now I simply need to go one floor up on the keyboard at the mobile station without any delay. Swipe to the rightward. Now I actually have the 5 here and the 6 on the right, and now I can simply go back to red here and to green here. And this time it was just the other way around. Now I see when I press red, it goes straight, and with green, it turns left. So we need to return to the cable's power off and swap it. Honestly, I'm glad it was incorrect this time, because showing my errors lets me fix them on the show. If I don't make mistakes and everything works for me, you'll find it doesn't for you. That's why I like to air, so you learn from them and I get to fill more airtime. That's the trick. That was the plan you've seen through me. So, now they have indeed been exchanged. Now let's try it once again, shall we? And now the red is round and the straight, in fact, is green. Now it works reasonably well. So what exactly does reasonably mean? It works perfectly. Okay, then we can finish this up here as well. And now we have one last turnout. She is back there. And we'll quickly finish those off now as well. So now we already have it. And then we're done with that too. Then it lives on repetition. Though now I think about it, the cable might be a bit short. I will clean that up nicely again before the next episode anyway, because I believe I will just screw the decoder under the system in the future. He actually made 2 precise drillings on the side here on purpose. Then you can just nicely take a screw there and here too, and then you just screw this decoder onto the wood and have your piece. Then it's also quite tidy, and absolutely everything is precisely where it belongs. Well, let's see if that impression truly comes across. That certainly won't work. Okay, how exactly did I say that about the mistakes? Can you remind me? I'm only doing this so you guys can have fun. Then we'll do something else. Now, it's time for the patchwork. I'll show you that once. You'll probably do that anyway, because at some point you'll come up with the idea too. Now, one could extend with a soldering iron and trimmings, placing the decoder in the center. But we are doing it differently now. We are now resorting to really nasty methods, and we take the large sleeve and plug package here on the side and simply extend it with sleeves and plugs without hesitation. Chop them up for us quickly, please. And that indeed has a considerable advantage. Now you also immediately know what is green and what is red by simply attaching the cable to such a red and green plug and socket, which is quite handy. So I'll just gently snap this open and then carefully empty it out right here in front of me without any hassle. Colorful indeed makes everything more colorful. And now we just need to find a yellow plug and a corresponding yellow socket to complete the setup. There we have them. Then we need a red plug and a red socket. Then we also know immediately what red is. And then we'll also do that in green too. And then we have already extended it in that particular way. Would it now also be conceivable as an idea that we could potentially utilize here quite swiftly? So, and now I'm actually going in here with the yellow wire directly into the plug. Now I find myself in need of a flathead screwdriver again. It's just the perfect size. And put this one on the side here. As said, this can be connected in that manner very, very simply. If it gets transported a lot, this diorama or the setup and then the plugs get pulled out, it's always a bit annoying. That's why you can solder it and then you can make it nice with a heat shrink tubing, but many roads lead to the goal. And that's precisely why we're just going to do it this way, as is the case here now, without a doubt. And everything will be fine. Now let's take a look at this. Now the mistake comes when I now attach green to red, then I mess everything up. That's why I'm going neutral now. I'm just going to use gray plugs now. Then I won't accidentally get the plugs in the wrong color later on. I have to change more stuff around there. That's why I'm making it neutral in gray for now. And I'll make the other one completely neutral in gray as well. Then we have successfully done that properly for once, without a doubt. And then it is extended here. So, off we go into overtime. At this point, we also need to ensure we have our yellow wiring harness in this particular case. So well then indeed. No one's a tree yet, but maybe one will be someday. So, well cable. We'll also quickly take care of that with the crimping pliers. Let's make it just a slight notch off here, shall we? And now, let's carefully observe and see how long we actually need to extend this particular segment. 1, 2, 3. Yes, we're not going to do that for too long either. I'll make it nice under the system until the next episode. I have quite a bit to do until the next time you decide to watch again, and then we'll take a closer look at that particular matter. So, now, I wanted to extend it to include yellow. Then, we proceed to carefully take the socket and open them once, and then we close it up nicely again, otherwise she'll be scared. Wow, that was flat. Flat as a flat plug sleeve. So, let's go. On the side, we'll just put that under the 2 trestles and sidings for now. So, let's deactivate the power already indeed. And plug it back into the middle at turnout 3 here on this m83 decoder. So, indeed, that's the very first trick we've encountered, and without any delay, the second one follows right away, seamlessly. Then, we absolutely need to ensure that we have, without any exceptions, a neutral grey color for both sleeves. Need a grey cable, right? Do I have one? Just looking in the YouTube store, so many colors. Perhaps I might even possess some strands of grey. Grey. No, actually, it's more of a rich, deep brown. Oh, come on. Do we actually have any shade of grey anywhere around here? Do we really have that? Just take a little moment, look around here carefully, and ask around. I also have a preference to reappear right here on this side. Unfortunately, we don't have it available. Yes, indeed, somewhere was indeed grey. I had grey. Grey, indeed. Won't paint now.
I'm actually considering, could I possibly get a brown cable, perhaps? Right? In fact, whether he has none. You might be wondering, you know what?
Then, right here, I have indeed found another black one, namely, a black one. Interestingly, two black cables also work quite well. Should I proceed to take this now and then connect the first one? That, I firmly believe, should certainly be more than sufficient in terms of the overall length. Very good indeed. Then let's meticulously go through this particular topic once again here, shall we? And indeed, the same length once again. Remember to buy grey cables, and I haven't seen blue either. I also want to use it for myself. Blue would, of course, have been even better now. Then one would know under the system that is in place that these are indeed the soft cables. So, but indeed, black is actually better than something else, isn't it? Okay, so now it's getting really frightening. With the screwdriver, I don't know about you, but I find this hobby incredibly relaxing. So it's zero stress. Sometimes it's a bit of something electrical. Sometimes it's a bit of something with modeling, with plaster. Then there's a bit of driving fun in between. But no matter what it is, it's always relaxed and always totally calm. Unless, of course, you let all the trains run at full throttle with full volume, then things can really get going. But otherwise, it's a very nice, quiet affair. So, can you still hear a bit of music in your basement, or in the attic, or in the living room, depending on where you are crafting? So, could you copy into the comments the YouTube songs that you listen to on the side? Okay then, moving on to the next joint. And then, just after that, we are precisely right at our final destination. Okay, it seems that's firmly stuck in place. Okay, and then it continues here with the black cable. And we're now going to run that through briefly under those two sidings back there. Then no train gets stuck there until we nicely lay it under the layout. That's a phase where you can practice longer for now. First, try a bit to see if the train runs well before doing everything under the layout. I'd say it looks a bit like a mess of cables at first, but more cables will be added. And if you can, then nicely hide them all with a wiring harness or cable loom under the system. It will, of course, look absolutely beautiful afterwards. Therefore, one might have to lay one or the other cable twice, but then you also know it works, and have thus also tested this operational mode a bit. And it's truly a pity when you've planned everything perfectly down to the precise minute, stored everything beautifully, all the cables look wonderfully satisfactory under the system, as if you've been doing this professionally for over 50 years now, and then, unfortunately, it doesn't work. That's always a bit annoying, isn't it? But then you just start all over again. So that's part of it too. Okay, right. We'll carefully take that bend in here again. So now let's take another look at the result here. So, now you can recognize it to some extent. There will be many cables. As I said, they can look nicer, maybe with a screw hose or similar. Then go around it and somehow lay a nice cable duct. But at least it looks like that for now. Same principle again. You have to look again. Does it work or does it not work? By turning my power back on. And now I'm going to the, what was it now, 5, 6, 7, and I have to check again on the 7. So, here's the good news. The turnout, a key element in our project, is already in the process of being adjusted. Red is meant to be looped around, indicating a circular path, while green should be laid out straight, suggesting a direct route. However, if we find that it's not correct on the next check, we'll give it another go, just one more time, a final attempt, with the hope that it will be perfectly aligned. In an interesting turn of events, I realized I hadn't turned off the power. I'm going to take care of that right now. And I mention this not because I want to avoid criticism in the comments, but to share a part of the experience openly. Looking back, this whole endeavor has been quite the adventure, an exciting experience indeed.
There's not a great deal on it, but still, it doesn't actually have to be that way. So,
and now, or we look at turning the power back on mobile station on the 7 test, and we test green is straight and red is round.
Wir testen, grün ist gerade und rot ist rund.
And now we can all effortlessly turn out our turnouts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, digitally, utilizing the mobile station. And an exit point, we still have one free here, and we'll actually take that one over here indeed for the uncoupling track. I promised you that, we can take that. However, there are only 2 cables there, means we only need 2 connections to this m83 decoder now. Because it is basically connected like a half turnout. Doesn't mean we still have another half turnout left. Although we could indeed connect a second coupling track to the other side. And now I just come over here and take the yellow cable again, gently placing it in the middle. So, and now it doesn't matter because there is only one side. Now I simply take the 4 in red and connect it here. Quickly screw this on securely. So, put it back there. I certainly have to demonstrate to you from the other side. Now, they are back in there again. The colors. So, there are currently only 2 of them present in here now. The right side is now entirely free. There's still room for something additional. Let's see if it works or not. I haven't tried it in this context yet. Let us examine it. I'm momentarily proceeding towards the 8. Now I have my 8th page. Up here you can go through with the keys. I'm really drawing it a bit more towards you. You can go through like this. So that would be my page 1 now. Then you see here page 1, decoder 1 and 2. So here 1, 2, then here 3, then here 4.
1, 2, dann hier 3, dann hier 4.
Oh right, 4 was free, exactly. Then we have 5, the next turnout. 6, yet another turnout. 7, then turn our back. Now comes the big moment, does it work? Ah, you might just see the blinking here on the side. The lamp actually turns on, and then the train or the carriage is gently uncoupled. So we can take a test drive. We can go for a ride with the train. She has to come here now. That means indeed the turnout is set correctly. All turnouts are, no, actually they are not all set correctly. My turnout number 3, let me clarify. Indeed, that was correct. Therefore, it appears that turnout number 5 has not been set correctly as of yet. So, and now we're moving forward here exactly with the steam locomotive. We are going there. And then we can go a bit more slowly with the steam locomotive, quite slowly indeed. And decouple here for a moment. And it worked. The steam locomotive continues on its own without its little wagons and can make its round. Let's have it brought forward and then move back. It then turnouts to the other track. And then picks up the little carts from the other side once again without fail. So, that didn't work out with the curve. I need to build the coupling track further back soon. But these are exactly the things you can now try out nicely. Is this the perfect spot? Isn't it? So, I'm going to test drive this more. You guys will check out the whole thing in the last episodes, what you're missing, if you feel like it. Be sure to get another starter kit and accessories, as we're going to keep crafting. Now, I'll make it nicer, and then we'll see if we can keep building the landscape in the next episodes more or less.